So really quick, we'll go right into it. My name is Daniel. This is Camilo.
What's up, the official Camilo?
Official Camilo. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
TikToker, model. I just make videos online. Mostly for fun. But that's what's up.
Now, you say model, but I've also seen you in some acting gigs, right? You do a little bit of acting as well.
Yeah, I did. I did Firing Squad and some Netflix shows called Pulse.
Okay.
So
Cool. So, tell us a little bit about kind of the vision for that. Being in the entertainment space is a little like, it's gig by gig, project by project. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience there?
It's just like, this is like who you know. So you just make connections. Every time I'm on a gig, I try to network and see like who I can talk to for the next gig and stuff.
Right.
And I choose people who are like more professional and stuff, because like it goes a long way. So
for sure. So where do you want to take this, Camilo? I mean, I know that you're doing some stuff online, posting some content, getting these projects, but in the perfect world, what is Camilo's dream or the end goal for you, man?
I mean, I love streaming, and like right now streamers make more than rappers. I don't know if you know that. Adin Ross makes more than any of your favorite rappers right now.
Adin Ross makes more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just streaming on a computer all day.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, continue. Yeah, my bad.
No, yeah, I like content's just fun and stuff, but like I want to get more into streaming. I do TikTok, but I just want to keep it up. I told you about the podcast. I had some ideas. I might as well talk about it now, right?
Yeah, let's get right into it. Yeah.
So I know this girl. She's one thing about I love TikTok. On TikTok Live, I meet a lot of people, a lot of networking just from my balcony. I go TikTok Live on my balcony. I got a rooftop pool, and I use that as my background.
Yeah.
So
huge.
Yeah.
Nice scenery.
Yep. So I'll be going TikTok Live for like 4+ hours sometimes, and I know this girl from LA. And she's an artist, so she came down here one day because I'm a promoter, and I took her out to the clubs and stuff. But we can put her in a podcast and talk about like her album that's dropping soon.
Yeah.
And she talks about relationship advice, so we can go talk about the album and go deeper into relationship.
That's huge. Yeah. So you're saying that you actually met a girl that came out here while you're promoting?
I met her through TikTok. And I kept inviting her to Miami because I was like, I'm a promoter, like we got it, like
Yeah.
And it was funny because there was a time where I left my TikTok agency and I stopped going TikTok Live, and when I stopped going TikTok Live, that's when she came down here. And I took her out, showed her some clubs and stuff, but I think it'd be valid to put her on the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so when you see this is the idea that we thought of.
Right.
First person he thought
here.
of was you. So can you tell us about kind of the relationship building as a promoter as well? I mean, you have access to the nightlife in probably one of the greatest nightlife cities in America.
Miami is top. 11 is the #1 club in Miami.
Yeah.
It's funny because I started there as a security guard, and now I'm a promoter for them. So like as a promoter, you get to network as well. Going live, you get to network. Everything I do is network. Modeling is network. Like there's a lot that says that's not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
And so it goes with promoting. It goes with everything, modeling, anything, acting.
Right. Yeah, guys, I always like to say this. You're one connection away from changing your life. So networking is everything, right? That's like the best capital you can have, right? Is who you know, not what you know.
Exactly, facts.
Yeah, so I agree there. Now, what would you say as far as like promoting? And I'll say this as a promoter in Miami, it's really competitive space. Can you talk about the competitiveness of the promoting world?
In the promoting world, my advantage right now is TikTok Live. Like for example, girls in Miami, they're used to nightlife. They're used to promoters. They have Rate My Promoter online and everything. And, it is saturated. But since I try to focus on girls who aren't in Miami, girls who are in Orlando, LA, New York, bachelorette parties, because they enjoy it better. And they appreciate it more because they don't see this every day.
Yeah, they're not used to this.
The girls here, they're used to it. So I like to pitch girls who don't live in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with anybody and everybody, as long as you're cool peoples, but I feel like people who don't live in Miami appreciate it a lot more because they don't have it.
They don't have it, for sure. I'm new to Miami, so I will say that, like, when you come from outside of Miami and you see the nightlife, you're like, wow, this is the best experience ever.
It's
right?
crazy.
It's crazy. But can you talk about kind of the spoiledness that these Miami local girls have and kind of the mindsets that they have now, because they're used to being able to get on a boat whenever they want,
Facts.
get into any club they want, tables, and we're not talking about just any tables with celebrities,
Yes, sir, yeah.
rappers. Can you talk about that shift in the industry where if you're in Miami, like that's nothing to you, you know, they don't think anything of it, but if you're not outside of Miami, you're like, bro, this is like the best weekend ever.
So girls here are super spoiled. I would say that. As a promoter, I can give you. I do free dinners.
Yeah.
These free dinners, mind you, they are top free dinners, right? They are 5-star restaurants. One is called Gecko, it's a Bad Bunny restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, I take out these. You know, I try to get influencers, but you know, as long as you're like a top model, I give you a free dinner.
Yeah.
But if you talk to a girl in Miami, she would say, which one? Yo, if I asked you right now, after this podcast, let's go to a free dinner, 5-star restaurant. You don't want to say which one.
Bro, let's go.
Let's pull up, right?
Yeah.
Nah, these Miami girls, they be like, which one, you know? Or if I say, I got a yacht, they say, how big? Like, bro, like, they're too spoiled over here. It's too spoiled.
Yeah, man. I think that's tainted the industry, especially here in Miami, because I mean they're so used to being able to have access to whatever they want.
Right.
So now to the point where like you can't take someone out to a normal dinner now. It
Facts.
has to be a 5-star dinner because
Yeah.
if she can just hit up a promoter, you know. Can you talk about now how that's skewed the dating in Miami, right? Like,
Yeah, facts. Hey, man, to be honest, I moved down here like 8 months ago. I was born in Miami. I do modeling gigs, so I used to drive from Orlando to Miami to do these gigs and stuff. So I'm blessed where I didn't date in Miami. But
Yeah.
I would say dating in Miami, I'm happy I didn't have to go through it because
Yeah.
even as a promoter, it's a headache. And I'm not even dating them.
For sure.
It's
for
already
sure.
a headache.
Yeah, women here are already a headache. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who lives here, you know, like you, like lives here,
Mm-hmm.
the quality of women, I mean, they're gorgeous, but now you're talking about the quality of, like, just the nature of core values.
Right.
It's not there. So, I mean, how have you kind of navigated that challenge of finding quality people to not just date, but to hang out with or just to be friends with? Because we're in a really weird market here in Miami.
Mm-hmm. I made a lot of friends modeling, even being an extra. I made friends like that. My best friend, one of my best friends in Miami, you know, I haven't been here that long, so, but best friend as a Miami, I met through modeling gigs, so like work, I guess, you know. Yeah, that's how I meet somebody cool, and
Yeah.
I'm not dating anybody, but I mean I'm not dating them.
right. Not anybody here locally, but yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
have your people that you hang out with, spend time with, that you consider core people,
Right.
rather than just the facade. You would say that you've been able to find good group of people that.
Yeah. I've been able to filter out. You know, also the persons who I'm friends with right now, they're also new to Miami, so maybe that's why they're cool. Like,
Yeah, they're not from Miami yet.
yeah. They just moved out here too. So,
Yeah.
hey, man. But I don't know, man. The girls here is tragic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tragic, yeah, guys. So if you come down to Miami and you're coming here to stay full time, I will say that's going to be the biggest thing is finding not just women but quality people to hang out with. Because even some of the guys, they're all about like, and I'm not going to say the flex lifestyle, but everybody here wants to drive a Lamborghini, wants to have a G-Wagon, wants to have a top house, and it's not to say that we don't want to have that. It's more to say that like, the people that you meet are more focused on that than meeting genuine and having quality relationships. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Like, when you're 20, 18, 17, in high school, you don't hit your prime yet. They say something that girls, they hit their prime with their beauty and stuff. They got that in 18.
Yeah.
A man, when he gets his prime, is around 40.
Right.
So a lot of girls understand that you got to build. If you're dating at 17, 18, 20, you got to let that guy, build his prime, because he will get there, right, with a strong foundation. Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I've heard that saying as well. Over time, women lose their value, right, because they lose their purity.
Facts. Yeah.
They lose their looks, right. Maybe their health goes down, right. But as a man, because we're always building, right. I mean, as a man, I like to say we always want to become better, right?
Right.
1% better a day, and so your value actually grows over time, right? You're like a stock investment, right?
Exactly.
So I agree with what you said there. Now, could you talk about what do you think? When do you think? I know we talked about the prime being 40, but we see a lot of young money here in Miami, right? You walk out the door, 17-year-old has a Lamborghini.
Right.
Can you talk about that? Yeah, like.
Hey, a lot of young money in Miami. I mean, can I talk about like the gig I did today?
Yeah, we just got back from a gig, so yeah, tell them a little bit about it.
It's it's all social media, straight up. You know, social media. That is the young money. That is the fast money. You know, you give me, you know, Lil Pump, all these people. That's
overnight success.
Overnight success.
Yeah.
That's all social media. You know, clickbait. 6ix9ine, where he's crazy with the rainbow hair.
Yeah.
That's young money. That's fast money. Camila, this girl, she blew up in the Mr. Beast video.
Yeah.
Right, and then now everybody, she had that famous number that everybody loved from the Squid Games.
Yeah.
And she used that for shock value. She opened an OnlyFans account. Hey, I met her in person today. She's cool and everything, but you know, that's how you get fast money.
That's
It's social
overnight
media.
money.
Yeah.
So yeah, to talk in depth. So we actually just got back from a gig out here in Miami, and the main creator, her page, she has about like 7 million subscribers.
Right.
She's over 1 million on Instagram. I personally didn't know her, right? So I went and asked Camilo, kind of asked around, who is she? And she blew up on Mr. Beast's video, and what she did was actually really smart, is because she found a gap, right, to where there was a ton of people in that video, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she utilized the fact that she had this famous number,
Right.
to now go monetize that immediately, right? And when she did that, and now she was an overnight success, right?
Yeah.
And now over time she builds value. Now we were in that room, and a lot of people were just blessed to be in that room with the creator that was, you know, that big, and she was a cool person, right? It was actually cool. She had good energy, but it's crazy how one thing like that could change your life completely. You know, there was a
Yeah.
Urus outside. You know, everybody in the room kind of had like everything going for themselves, right?
Yeah, just, you know, it's just being a gig in Mr. Beast video. She used that, you know, everything that she had, and she created shock value, and boom, she grew from that. She started her podcast. Now she does her, you know, her OnlyFans account. But she does a lot of shock value, and that is young money.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Everything
for
is
sure.
shock value. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about shock value? Because, you know, you kind of saw it early on with the rappers where, like, let's say, you know, there's a lot of musicians in the world, people who make great music, and probably a lot of people who have great music that are just unknown, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of you get one wave and you have to capitalize on that one wave, because if you can, it can go from here to here in literally hours, you know, minutes to
Yeah.
seconds. You know, can you talk a little bit about shock value and your perspective on that?
Shock value is you have to be somewhat original. You know, everyone now is like little this, little Pun, Little Wayne.
Right.
Everyone got little in front of it. That's, you know, that's cool and all, but shock value is like 6ix9ine. You know, people, if you love him or you hate him, there's a documentary. You know what I'm trying to say out about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. It was kind of 6ix9ine's a perfect example, because everybody had an opinion about him.
An opinion,
Whether
either
it was
good or bad. Yeah.
But it was still like mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a good example.
I think he's a prime example of shock value. Rainbow hair. What rapper, you know, had rainbow hair?
Right. And he was just doing the craziest thing, running around.
Yeah.
Like, who's another example of someone who just overnight, like, took over the internet, you know? Like, even the Hawk Tuah girl, right? Like,
Hawk Tuah, yeah.
that was crazy. She's now at like 2 million followers. She's getting booked at venues, you know, 30K, 50K.
I'm a promoter, so I know this. Her first venue was the Hard Rock Stadium, the Day Club.
The Day
And
Club.
she was excited about it, yeah.
So you got to kind of experience that. Were you there? Did you happen to show up?
Yeah, I'm a promoter, and I'm in a group chat, so I saw like everyone was like texting how happy she was.
Yeah.
Hey man, like you blew up off an interview that you were drunk out like in a club.
She was drunk.
Yeah, she was just having a good time. You know,
Yeah.
she wasn't ready for this interview.
No.
And she just said something that a lot of men found attractive or whatever.
Right, or it was just
The shock value, yeah.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
for her. Yeah, no, and it's crazy because to give you this example, like, that's where companies are investing their money in: shock value, overnight success, and attention. Right. So.
Right. But
This-
let me ask you this: you think the Hawk Tuah? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
You
go
think the
ahead.
Hawk Tuah girl is gonna last like these, like 6ix9ine and these other people who have shock value, like Camila?
So let's talk about that. Did 6ix9ine last? 'Cause-
He just dropped recently. And
Oh, he did, so he's back in
it got
motion.
views up. 6ix9ine, he was everything he dropped got numbers, and then he took a little break right now because he's in house arrest, you know.
Right. Some of the.
But
legal stuff.
he just dropped again, and it got numbers, yeah.
Yeah. So, great question. So, for someone like Hawk Tuah, who really doesn't have much, I'm not gonna say much value. I'm not gonna degrade her like that,
Mm.
but. The reason she had that much attention wasn't based off
One
talent.
sentence. It was
You know,
one
Yeah,
sentence.
it was based off one sentence.
Yeah.
And so for a girl like that to last, what does she have to do to keep her value, her attention? So that's a great question, honestly.
Yeah. So the Hog Tua girl, the best example for her that I can say is Danielle Bregoli. You know her?
Yeah.
The Catch Me
Oh, yeah,
Outside
Catch Me
girl.
Outside girl.
She also blew up of one sentence, and she did phenomenal. She did
Yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah.
She did her little music.
Started rapping.
Yeah, she started rapping. What else she did? She did like videos.
Yeah.
She kept it interesting, you know.
Right. She kept going with
She
it.
kept going. She added the flavor. Like, it wasn't just Catch Me Outside. How about that?
Yeah.
Boom. She started rapping. YouTube videos, collabs is a big thing.
Yep.
This Hawk Tua girl, I'm rooting for her. You know, she's beautiful and everything, but she needs to add some pizzazz. You know,
Yeah, you got to do something different now.
Yeah.
Like, to keep that attention on you. And to speak about Danielle, whatever her name
Danielle
is,
Bregoli, yeah.
the Catch Me Outside girl, she turned 18.
Yeah.
Right. Her first 2 days being 18, she had generated $18 million on OnlyFans.
Facts, yeah.
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 And then for the full year, she did $60 million basically.
It's just, sorry to interrupt you again,
go
but
ahead.
that's crazy how she opened that OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
Because
at 18.
no, she just dropped it and she already had content, so a lot of people, hey man,
Ooh.
they like, it's a little suspect.
Ooh.
Like, what if that's a
Ooh, so you're saying, look, guys, so she had just dropped it on her 18th birthday. The content that she was uploading, the fine lines, guys, yo, that's a crazy fact.
yeah, you know. But what I've never subscribed to her personally. I heard it's just bikini pictures, so
Yeah,
you know, maybe you know, but
it's still questionable.
yeah, because it's a little suspect. But yeah, she made her bread though. So
Yeah, so but she did $60 million at 18 years old, and so you think about how many businesses, how many individuals, how many people can even generate, how many rappers haven't even touched $60 million in a year? And this girl did that at 18.
Facts.
Based off that spike of attention she had. She was like 15, 14. It's insane to think about.
Yeah, that is. I give her props that she was smart. She was able to capitalize on everything, and I feel like that for the Hawk Tua girl, that's like a good example for her to, you know, not do the same thing she did, but kind of follow that route.
Right,
add a little pizzazz or whatever.
So you said not do the same thing that she did. I mean, we're here local, here in Miami.
Yeah.
A hub for, tech right now. There a lot of tech's coming down here. A lot of finances coming down from New York. A lot of entertainment's coming down from LA. But one thing that Miami is the capital of is OnlyFans, right? So
yeah.
You did say maybe not do what she did, but how many
I'm
women...
talking about like rapping. Like, I don't see the Hawk Tua being a rapper.
Right. But yeah, let's talk about the OnlyFans game. I mean, it's like you said, you're in the promoting space and you're kind of in the nightlife space. And
facts, yeah.
a lot of women that I've met here in Miami do OnlyFans. Like it's.
This is Miami. This is OnlyFans Central. This is OnlyFans
the spawn.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to be an OnlyFans model, this is Miami.
Miami, yeah. Even as far as like these Instagram people who are going by Instagram models. Yeah. Miami, like
all these, like, I've done some gigs in the beginning where you're an extra. These girls are beautiful, but extra doesn't pay the bills, so they become an OnlyFans model. Now I see them making bank.
Yeah.
So Miami is Miami's expensive, so
yeah,
there's so many reasons why to become an OnlyFans. Like to get a job here is oversaturated.
Yep. And you can't get a good paying job unless you're overly qualified.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This is a fact. So, internet money is kind of what we've seen. Now, where do you see yourself in the mix? Because I know, like you said, you're blessed to kind of obviously be in the nightlife, to be able to network.
Right.
You're also blessed to be able to have connections in these modeling and acting industries.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to and Miami's kind of turning into that hub as well for it. Right. So you're in a good position as far as leverage and where you're at, where your feet are at. Because you're right in the scene of everything, right? Now, what is your plan to capitalize on this, right? Because, you're right in the scene, and you're making content, and you're right there, right? What's the next play for you, man?
Me just networking, like TikTok Live. Honestly, that's how I get some. That's how I bring some of the girls to the clubs and stuff. Right. So TikTok Live, I network. The artists, like I told you, I want to bring to the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a connect right there, because I get to go live with them. You do these battles, right, on TikTok Live,
yep.
And you become friends with them online. You become friends with them for 2 or 3 months. You know this person without seeing this person, right?
Yeah.
So I've been live with multiple people, influencers and stuff. Island Boys to be on there too. So
Yeah, Island Boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those are other people who kind of had that overnight success, or like that's
Man.
the Island Boys, man.
my barber, yo, shout out to my barber, but he cuts his hair, but
Wait, they cut their hair. They got them like big old ponytails. And
no, I
be
think
seeing
I don't think they got that no
Oh,
more.
they got the waves now. Yeah, they got the
Yeah.
waves. You're right. I forgot about that.
But Island Boys is too much. I mean, I respect their hustle, but I heard he kissed his brother, and
No, not only did we hear, we saw it. I think it went viral.
I didn't want to look. I think I did see it one time, but I think I tried to throw it in the trash can.
Yeah, trash can. So, okay, let's talk about that now, too, because we're talking about the power of attention. And, you know, we talked about 6ix9ine, good attention, bad attention.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people now who are capitalizing on bad attention. And it is tainting their brand, but they're monetizing off it. So how do you feel about, you know, someone who, you know, who is making money, you know, where we're going, like someone like, you know, I've worked with some projects with them, like Jack Doherty, right?
Yeah.
So
Is it Doherty or Dorothy? I think it's Doherty. I think you're right.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But you know, we see him making money. You see that he obviously has his OnlyFans stuff going on the side.
Yeah.
He has the attention going on, but it's very controversial. Like when you're online, do you hate him or love him? Is it something that you respect out of someone that they're doing? How do you feel about that bad attention and people who are monetizing on it, like, and ruining brand values and stuff like that?
I hear what you're saying. I think there's a saying that all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
I do think that I agree with that to an extent. I mean, I think I do agree most of it. I think the Island Boys kissing his brother is kind of crossing the line. Like it's like a lot of people are like
That's
Alabama.
weird.
That's like they be like, yo, that's some Alabama shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little wild. But 6ix9ine, you know, you love him or hate him. I think what he did was good. It boosted his career up. A lot of venues he's banned from, so it did hurt him, right?
Yeah.
Because he told every gangster to suck his dick.
Yeah. Yo, he was out there like Chicago, Bucko Block. Like he was out there in New York. I run the streets in New York. Like he got a name for him.
Too many death threats and stuff. So it hurt him because venues weren't even though he was sell out a venue and he had all that publicity, he wasn't able to book it because he had too much heat on him. It's too much of a liability.
Yeah. You got someone knows you're in their city.
Right.
And they're gonna pull up. You talking about. And this is the streets we talking about because he disrespecting real street niggas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point. And to your point, let's get into this. So all publicity is good publicity, but at what point do you become unmarketable?
Yeah, at what cost? But hey, I think I don't know. I think all publicity is still, still good publicity. 6ix9ine might not be able to book some certain venues, but at least his views, like when he drops something, it blows up.
Right.
So hey, he got that YouTube though. He got that YouTube money. He might not have the show money. It's just how rappers make most of their money, so that's kind of a downfall.
And stuff like that.
But it's a give and take. You got a give and take right there.
Right. So and let's get into this because marketability is huge, right? When brands are looking into sponsoring people, endorsements, they want to make sure that one, you fit in their target audience, the people who watch you can follow their brand.
Like cancel, like people get canceled.
Yeah, like get canceled, but they also want to make sure that they're not on a wave that's on a downtrend. They're not on a bad downtrend. Like if Chick-fil-A is gonna sponsor 6ix9ine, like Chick-fil-A's audience might not.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for the
right?
Christians.
Absolutely not. Right, exactly. And so that's kind of a big thing. So at what point are you sacrificing more money on the table?
Who do you want to work with? Like 6ix9ine is good with what he does. Let me try to think. Was it Jake Paul, Logan Paul that got fired from Disney Channel? It was both of them, right?
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, so they lost Disney Channel, but now he got Prime and that blew up. So he lost one thing but gained up on another thing, WWE and all this and the podcast he's doing. Logan Paul is one of the top videos right now, YouTubers.
Yeah, Logan Paul,
and Jake Paul is one of the top
biggest
boxers.
influencers. And Jake Paul is probably top 5 entertainers in the world right now.
I think Jake Paul is the best YouTube boxer right now.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, we know that he can sell out. He can actually box. I'm gonna give it to you, Jake. You actually, you might not be the best boxer, but for what you can do, you can do it.
Definitely, I'll give him the title of the best influencer boxer. Like
without a doubt, yeah. He probably running anybody's money, but so it's funny because I'm in the marketing game, and so I've been able to meet some people, some managers and stuff.
Right.
So one of the partners that I have now knows the guy that used to live with Jake Paul.
Okay.
when he blew up. So when they built that content house,
What's it? The Team 10 house.
the Team 10 house, right, in LA.
That's dope. Yeah.
So he was actually the guy that helped them finance that house. So they went and got a mortgage on it, right? It
Right.
wasn't a lease. It wasn't because you can't rent a house and do the stuff that they were doing,
Yeah,
right? They
I don't know how he got away, because he did dirt bikes in there.
Yeah.
I think he blew up the pool with fire or something.
They were doing everything.
Yeah.
It's because it was their house, right? It was on a mortgage, not a lease. You know, if I'm a landlord and I see this on YouTube, I'm gonna come knock that door.
Yeah, so they own the house.
Yeah, so they own the house. So we got to talking, and he told me at that time, as Jake was leaving Disney and becoming the influencer he was,
Right.
they had to be so creative and think of everything, right? And that's how he got into boxing.
Facts. Yeah.
Because Jake was kind of like 6ix9ine in a way, where people were like, they
Hating-
loved him
yeah,
or
yeah.
they hated him.
Yep.
And so they needed a way to monetize that, right? So they were like, well, why don't we just start doing influencer boxing? Everyone wants to see Jake get beat up. And at first, everybody wanted to see
everyone wanted him to lose. Yeah.
everybody wanted him to lose. So they started messing around, and this is the story that he gave me, was eventually they landed a deal with KSI because they were beefing. And the
Yeah.
beef was already so real that people wanted to see them fight. And they wanted to see Jake lose so bad. So when
Right.
that KSI fight kind of happened, they had so much attention on that. They were able to take that to a promotion group and say, hey, pay me for this. Let's do millions of dollars, right? So could you talk about that, right? The heat
Yeah.
of that, like, Jake being, you know, like, hated and loved, and people wanted to see him lose, now is why he's probably the biggest entertainer in the world. If it wasn't for that downtrend moment. Like, imagine being a creator, you're online, and everybody wants to see you lose.
Yeah,
Right?
that's 6ix9ine. Everyone wanted to see him die.
A 6ix9ine, like everybody
Yeah.
was like, bro, get this dude off the camera.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And the Island Boys, yo, like we're talking about people who are like, yo, why are these people famous?
Right.
But they were able to make money, live in mansions, drive the nicest cars, have, you know, I wouldn't say quality girls when it comes to values, but really good looking women.
Good looking ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bad
so-
value is good looking.
Yeah. So like let's talk about that. What's your take on that?
Leave me again with the Jake Paul that you were saying.
So Jake Paul's boxing career actually spanned from the attention of hate, right?
Right,
so
right.
there was a time, it was back in the days, 2017, 2018, he was beefing with KSI. KSI's in the UK, and everybody was like, yo, like, what's the beef about? And somebody in the house, actually the guy that I'm talking to.
Who won that fight?
I believe KSI.
KSI?
I'm not too detailed because I just heard this story from the guy that I met that used to run the content house for him.
Okay.
You know, he used to be security. He used to be the guy that set it all up. And he told me that they didn't even know how to fight, right? They went and got Jake a trainer. They
Right.
went and got Logan a trainer. Logan had good wrestling skills, but he couldn't pick up the boxing like Jake did, right? And so when Jake started to pick up some heat, and they were like, he can box.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Jake Paul, he didn't fight KSI. He fought KSI's brother. He won the fight.
Okay.
Logan fought
KSI.
and Logan
lost.
lost the fight.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's so y'all heard that there.
There
so,
you go. Yeah, I knew, but it's like back there because that was a while ago.
But can you talk about this moment in time for him, right? Where there are YouTubers. Logan actually was on a downtrend because he posted that video of like the suicide, like people
Yeah,
were like
that-
Logan.
You're right.
And then they spawned this idea to really like they were on a downward spiral,
Yo,
and now they spawned this idea to where Logan's on the WWE, the biggest. Like I've been watching
Big
WWE
comeback
since I
since-
was like,
yeah.
and
The boxing, yeah. To add on what you're saying, he made a giant comeback from the boxing because he had all the hate and he channeled that.
channeled that. Like,
Yeah.
So let's
Boxing
talk
was a turnover.
a turnover, and
Yeah.
and when they started boxing, everybody was like, "Who are these YouTubers boxing?"
Right,
like,
right.
So like, how do you do that as a creator to have the confidence of the whole world hates you?
Yeah, it's
Right.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, could you put yourself in them shoes, like, where you're sitting there and you're kind of fighting that, like, do I continue to do this? You know, like, do I even walk out? Like, you're in LA, you know, big entertainment market.
Right.
You walk out the house, you know, you probably have death threats, hate threats, like, and Logan did. Remember
Yeah.
Logan? People were like, "Yo, this guy just posted a suicide." Like, what happened with Logan? If you know, do you know what happened with Logan?
With the suicide forest.
Yeah. He went to the forest and posted somebody's.
He I don't know if I can say it, but he posted a video of a guy like himself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that went down. Yeah.
And then that went viral. Like
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Yo, who is this kid?" Like, you know, they lost all their endorsements overnight, right? How do you bounce back from that?
I mean, just like they did it, they fought it out. You know,
They fought it out.
people love boxing because it's real. You know,
Yeah.
like even if you're
yeah.
if you're bad or good, it's real. Once you're in the ring, all that clout doesn't matter. You know, you put those gloves on, and that's you. That's one thing. I'm a boxer from high school, amateur boxer, right? I got YouTube videos of myself boxing before I even became famous, but boxing is a real sport. So I think boxing it was a turnover for them because boxing is so real because they got tired of all the BS, like all the YouTube and the clout and the Suicide Forest.
Yeah.
When they saw boxing, they're like, all right, maybe I hate these people, but let's watch it because it's real. So even if I hate them or like them, you're gonna watch it because boxing is real.
Yeah, like
You can't. Boxing's not a game.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about that because there's a lot of attention online where this is all rigged, and whether it's rigged or not, as a personal boxer, once you step in that ring, it's as real as it gets.
It gets as real as it gets. Boxing is very high on. Boxing is very about conditioning.
Yeah.
So you're in there, you're gonna get gassed out. So.
Yeah, you're right. Dang. So I've seen some content behind you boxing now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about you. Boxer in high school, coming up. You do a couple different things, especially on TikTok, acting. How'd that all trend? How'd you start making content? How'd you get into the space?
Hey, I had good friends like Jake Paul was the Team 10 house. I didn't have Team 10 house, but I had a friend. I had a good group of guys that my best friend at the time he was a good boxer, right? And we both like social media and YouTube, so we did a YouTube channel together. We set up the video for I did a boxing in a real ring. I fought my best friend and we posted it. Everyone in my town wanted to see it because they were like. I was a boxer in high school, but I kind of quit boxing because I went to boot camp. And while I was in boot camp, he was boxing.
Boot camp for?
I was when I was in high school, I instead of finishing my senior year, I got sent to boot camp for 6 months. Like where the bad kids go. I don't know if you ever been threatened by your mom.
Oh, like a boarding school almost, but
something
more
like
intense.
that. But my boot camp was literally in Jacksonville inside it's called FLICA. It's inside of a military base.
Wow. Can you tell us about that? Were you making like the wrong choices? Like what made your mom send you to?
You know what it is? I don't know what it is. Yo, no cap.
Attention, right?
I don't think I was a bad kid, but I come from a divorced family, so I think that did take a toll. Even though at the time I didn't care about it. Like if you asked me at the time, I was like I didn't care about it. But now from a bird's eye point of view, I think it did take a toll on me, and somehow because it was math. My dad's what taught me math, right? So the divorce, when I was suffering, I started suffering in school. I had like A's and B's, and then when I didn't have my dad to teach me math no more, I started getting like F's because it's like I didn't listen how the teacher taught math. I liked the way my dad taught me. He wasn't around for that no more, and he's a great person. Everything, it's not his fault, whatever, because my mom divorced him, and whatever, right?
Right.
But so I started partying a lot. I went on joyrides. Steal the whips.
Okay.
My parents' whips, not other people's whips.
Right. You get at the house like.
I don't think I was a terrible kid, but I wasn't a saint.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can get you can share as much as you want, but that's a big thing, right? Like, your parents split in high school.
Yeah. So me coming in high school, they split apart. Yeah.
Yeah. So middle high school. I mean, like you've gone all your life one way. Your parents decide to split. And whether at the time you thought you didn't care, right? Because most of the time, like as a 17-year-old, 16-year-old.
Right. So let me tell you why though. So like my sister, she's older, right? She older than me. I think she's like in her 30s. I'm 22.
Yeah.
My sister, she was born in Colombia. I was born in Miami. It's a big age gap. So in Colombia, she saw my mom and dad love each other. So for her, it hurt her more because she saw the love. But by the time I was born, they only stay together because like that's what in Colombia is old fashioned, right?
Right, of course.
So
culture.
they stay together just because that's the culture. Like even if you don't love each other, you gotta stay together for the kids.
Yeah, you're married. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I agree with that, but that's how they did it. So my whole life, by the time I was born, I knew they didn't love each other. At the age of 5, I was a smart kid, and I was like, why are you guys together if you don't love each other? My sister can confirm, like, I said that stuff. Like, I picked that up. You picked that up.
Right. You're smart, dude.
So,
you see, you're in the house, so you see.
Yeah. I see, like, you guys don't love each other.
Right.
So, it didn't really affect me because I was like, there was no love to begin with. So when they left, it was a matter of time.
It was like you were kind of happy for both of them. They kind of got the release.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I mean, I didn't know why you guys were here anyway. You guys don't like each other, right?
Yeah.
So, but for my sister, she's older than me, and she saw the love connection, and she saw the fall apart. And so for her, it hurt her instantly because she saw they used to love each other.
Right,
I didn't see that.
Right.
So it didn't really affect me.
At the time, yeah.
But in a bird's eye view, now I think it did affect me a little bit just because I was used to my dad. Like, I got more along with my dad because he was more charismatic and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like my math homework, he was the only person that can teach me that, right? So academically, I struggled a little bit with that, yeah.
Right. So, at this point, you know, you're kind of like, all right, they split. You know, you obviously have your life at school now. Did you gain more freedom from that split?
I got all the freedom. All the freedom, man.
Yeah.
Man. I was the man of the house. Like, no one can tell me anything, right?
Right.
And I think I did use that for bad. Like,
you abused it, huh?
Yeah, but you know, where I live, it is expensive, right? So I came from a place that was like cheap, right? That's not like, you know, not that good.
Right.
And then and then they moved into a house that was a little more expensive, and since like my mom's uncle helped her get that place, right?
Yeah.
So the mortgages were so high that my mom had to work all the time. So she wasn't home a lot. So I was never home because I didn't like to be home alone.
Right.
So I was always like in the streets, like, you know, I say streets, but it was not. It was a kind of a bougie neighborhood, but I was never home.
Right. You were doing your thing. You're running around.
Like when I took the bus, right? So when I took the bus, I didn't take the bus to my house. I took the bus to my girl best friend's house, and then her mom would make me food and stuff like that.
I see. So you kind of went home somewhere else.
Yeah.
Your mom's right. You know, when you have a single mother now working to pay bills.
I don't blame her. She just it was something that it's hard for one person.
For sure, and then multiple kids and stuff like that. So now you're at the point, you're in high school, you have ultimate freedom. Now I'm gonna kind of like spawn now to today and then look back there. For me, freedom gave me accountability.
Facts.
Because it allowed me to without having anybody tell me what to do, I had to go into the world and figure out what to do, what's right and what's wrong for myself, right? Yeah. Even though I knew what my mom's morals were.
You focus on yourself. I got a tattoo on me. I'm independent Sagittarius, so that's why I got that tattoo on me. You know, like, you have to work. Like, for example, I started working before it was legally work. I was working with the Mexicans landscaping. Right. You know, like, people were like, what is this white kid doing here? I mean, I'm Colombian, but I look white. So the Mexicans were like, what's this white kid doing here? You got papers, right? But it's like, you know, I started working at a young age because if I wanted to buy Jordans or something, you know, I love my mom and everything, but that, like, being independent and not relying on my parents made me a stronger person, you know. I have, like, best friends and stuff that they're stuck in their house living with their parents 25 years old. I got my own crib at 18, you know. I might have been like buying a roommate or something.
Yeah, of course, but you left at
18 2 years. I think 2 years, and then 21 I had my very own crib, no roommates, nothing like that.
Right.
So you know, it's like you learn a lot that you have to fight for yourself, that you got to make money for yourself. You learn a lot.
Yeah. Right, yeah. I mean, let's talk about that, because not a lot of people get the chance to move out at 18, and it actually hurts them more than it helps them, you know?
I think it hurt me, but I think it helped me, too.
Right. No, I mean,
it was a give and take. Like, I learned how to take care of myself.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you're 22 years old. You've been by yourself since you were 18. Is that what you're saying? You haven't gone back home?
I got kicked out at 18.
Oh, so you got kicked out. So there was more of a situation. Your mom was like, all right, I can't handle this anymore.
No, I didn't really get kicked out. So technically I got kicked out because I told you I did a boot camp, right? So, but when I got out of boot camp, it was inside a military base, and she loves the military because she's very, like, old-fashioned, like, she likes macho man.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to go straight in the military, and, you know, military, they got the berries and stuff.
Yeah.
So when I got out of boot camp and I didn't decide to sign the papers to join the military, the house I was living in was already put to rent for somebody else. So I was kicked out, but because she assumed I was gonna sign the papers, and I almost did, because it was like, sign the papers, join the military, be homeless. But you know, I almost did. Like, there's a picture of me like signing the papers, but something inside of me was like, you know what, I'm gonna thug it out.
Thug it out. Like, you're gonna figure it out. So
figure it out. Yeah. Like you know, like, fuck, like, you know, even though, like, I'm so close to being homeless because I'm not signing these papers, but whatever, right? Like I figured it out.
Right, so you didn't get kicked out, but necessarily your mom had accounted you for being gone, and then that
She didn't expect me to like stay.
Right. And so at that point, it wasn't due to anything. Well, you were supposed to obviously go to the military, so now you're 18 years old. You're like, I got to go find a place. How did you kind of scrape that? Because being 18, you're fresh out of high school. You're not going to college.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go get a job.
Right.
But you're 18 with no credentials.
With nothing. Yeah, you got no credentials. So,
how did you deal with that? How did you manage that?
So one thing, during high school, I was living with my mom and stuff, and then when I got out, and they found out that I wasn't gonna join straight the military, they're like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna sleep in the streets?" And what ended up happening was I ended up staying with my dad, and he got remarried, so he had his stepmom, so they weren't expecting me, so it was uncomfortable, Like I love my stepmom, she's really cool, right? But it wasn't part of their plan, so I felt like a burden. I felt like I didn't belong, right? And it was because like I'm not her blood, and I know she loves me and stuff, but I'm not her blood, and she didn't expect me.
Yeah, you're an extra body in an economy where you got to feed an extra in a grown body.
Yeah, I got to feed an extra person. When I was there, my mindset was like, I got to get out here as fast as possible.
Right.
Because
and you felt that.
I felt that because I was like, even though I know they said nice words, because my dad's very charismatic and he's a very nice person.
He loves you.
Yeah. And my stepmom, she's also a very nice person. But I knew I didn't belong there.
Of course, right?
Right, because
you can feel it.
Yeah, so I was like, when I went there, I didn't have any clothes, right? Because I just came from boot camp.
Yeah.
So I just had boot camp clothes, So.
Right.
I was just like, damn, I gotta get out of here. So as soon as I could, I got a job, and I looked up to be a roommate, like a roommate for somebody, whatever, anybody, right? As soon as it took me like a couple months to and then for there I just couch surfing with my friends and stuff until I matured, to get more money, to get better, until I can afford my own place. Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like you really went through some character building days, especially in that season where, you're still young. You're still like a young man. You're 18 years old. Now, what would you say that character, like, do you regret the choice you made? Like looking back at it now, like, could you have done things different? I mean, all the time, what would you have done differently, if anything differently?
Even though, in people's eyes, I was a bad kid, I don't think I was, but I always wanted to go to school, actually. That was the crazy part. But, like, not having that strong foundation in school just wasn't really an option, even though I got my degree in the boot camp, and, I was focused on going to UCF or whatever, but it was just, like, not possible. But, I became stronger, I know people who got a degree, but at 28, they're living with their mom.
Right.
I don't have a degree, but what was it? I got 20 or 21. I had my own place, not some roommate crap, like my own place at 21. So I didn't own it, but it was my place.
Right.
I wasn't sharing with nobody.
Right. Yeah, you were self-sufficient by the age of 21, right?
And that personally feels great, It feels like a burden, but it's a blessing and a burden at the same time.
Yeah.
But I like it. I got that tatted on me because for example, I don't know if you saw my answers on the dating thing that we did, for that YouTube video.
Yeah.
I like being independent and like independent women, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into that independency, because that honestly that's the reason, and I'm going to say this based off hearing your story, the reason you're independent is because you've almost had to be independent up to this
there's
point.
no choice.
yeah, like being 18 years old, couch surfing, going to a place where you kind of felt, even though you weren't unwanted, you kind of felt unwanted.
Yeah.
It grows character, one.
Right.
But can you talk about that? As a man, I feel obviously we should be independent, but sometimes we might be too independent. Can you talk about that? I wouldn't say too independent, but what challenges have you had depending on other people? Because
because when you got less stuff, you gotta depend on something, right? Either a job or something, right?
Right. Yeah. So go into that, like, because it could have been hard for you to depend on somebody mentally. Not even maybe someone's willing to support you, but mentally you can't get yourself there because you're naturally have built up that character of like, I got to do everything by myself. I got to build this by myself. I only have myself. Because up to this point, you've only had yourself.
So being independent, I see what you're trying to say. Being independent, you are going to be kind of dependent on something else, because I wasn't independent where I had my own 30K business a week or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that crazy independence.
Yeah, you wasn't making like $1 million a year.
Yeah. One thing is friends. On that video in Spanish, I said, "No necesitas sangre para tener familia," which means you don't need blood to have family.
Yeah.
So I choose my friends like real, the ones that were real, right? So like if I was in a car accident or something, and I have a car, I had someone that can pick me up 2 a.m. You know, even, and then, you know, having all that freedom, I was in a really dark path, because like I was partying and all that stuff, even though these people had my back and stuff. I also chose like, okay, so I got the crazy friends, and then I had one of my girl best friends that she's super, like, she's an angel, right? So I don't lose sight of myself. So she's Christian. I believe in God. I don't believe in religions, man-made. But if I had to choose a religion, I would choose Christianity.
Yeah.
And if I was too dark, I'll call her up to help me, like, guide me back to the right path, you know? Like, partying too much, sleeping with girls that you don't like, all that takes a toll on you.
Takes a toll, for sure.
So I balance out my friends. Yeah, I can have my party friends, but I had the angel one that, like,
if
I felt going to the left, she brings me back.
Yeah. And so this was something that you were really comfortable with her, to where you weren't embarrassed to tell her, like, hey, I'm deep.
Yeah, no, she was my girl best friend. It was not somebody I was gonna date or nothing like that, and she knew that, and we both knew that mutually agreement. You know, like, you just know.
Yeah.
So you know, I'll tell her if I had girl problems, whatever. She didn't make her guy problems, whatever. But if I was going through something mentally, like something about my family or a death or whatever, like, I'm not doing no therapy session, but I can talk to her, you know.
Yeah.
And then if I felt like I had to go to church, I can't go to church I won't go to church by myself, but I had her to go with, you know. And her family was like together and stuff, so it's kind of cool to see a family that is not split apart.
Of course.
Because growing up, I couldn't see that, and in my eyes, she had all that angel, good girl stuff, you know, and it was like a breather from the chaos.
Right. And so I almost want to say, everybody, it's important to have those people in your life, because you're going to be challenged. Like, this is something that no matter what, like, we're going to go through darkness. Like, with light, there comes darkness, and environment's everything. And when you're in darkness, most of the time your environment is dark, right?
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that has the light, you know, you have to be able to gravitate towards it, because that's going to be the only way you pull yourself out. Darkness can't pull darkness.
Darkness just brings more darkness. It you know, you might have
100%.
fun in there, but club, drinking, girls, that's all darkness, you know. You're not building nothing real.
No.
That's just a distraction.
Right. So, could you talk towards that, actually? Like, what... So this best friend of yours, she was religious, she had a family, she kind of had these aspects of things that you admired. Maybe you didn't agree with everything, or maybe you weren't like all facade about it. But it kind of gave you a bird's eye view of like, hey, like, everything I'm doing right now might not be all it. Is that what you're saying? Was it solely her, or you just knew deep inside like what was going on is like, I need this person?
I just felt like I needed this person because I did believe in God, even though I don't believe in religion, right? Because religion is man-made, but I want to get close to God, right? And I have a hard time doing it by myself, because it might be self-pity, whatever the case is, you know. But so I would like to have someone who has that connection with God, and something I admire about her, that's why I chose her to be one of my girl best friends. She told me she's gonna be a virgin till marriage. That's rare. In Miami, doesn't even exist.
It doesn't exist in Miami, by the way. But wow.
Yeah.
So that was like the big, and anybody with those values, you know,
those are core values that, and it's so rare. I'm like, this girl has to be my best friend, because like, I don't know, actually she's the only girl that I know that does that. Oh, I mean, her and her sister do it.
The only girl that he knows that's gonna be a virgin till marriage. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in today. Most people don't abide by that. That's the old school traditional.
I mean, I didn't abide by it, so I don't blame anybody who don't. But those core values, like, even though it's something that I can't do, like, it's admirable. It's like, oh, you can do that? You got the strength to do that? Like, yo, let me be friends with you so you can guide me to get that strength. Because having that self-control and all that, that's...
Self-control. Wow, that's amazing. Miami doesn't exist. She doesn't live in Miami, does she?
No.
Yeah,
No.
so she doesn't. Miami, that does not exist. If you're somewhere out there, hit the DMs. But, so yeah, I mean, I've kind of been guiding the conversation, but yeah, I kind of want to give you a chance to do your thing, man. Like, you know, go right ahead. Like kind of just.
So like we talked about independent and all those things, and you said like when you're so independent, you gotta depend on some people. I learned that I had to be like I can't get fired from a job.
No.
You know, if I was, I got bills to pay. You know, I'm gonna get. This is not my family. If I'm roommating with somebody,
Absolutely
or
not.
even if it was my own place, the landlord doesn't care.
They don't care about your situation.
Yeah, so that kind of showed like a lot of initiative and like, you know, making sure like, yo, I gotta go to work on time and all that. But you know, everything that happened in my life, I think it happened for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be modeling and meeting all these great actors and stuff if I didn't go through what I had to go through. I don't blame my parents because they did the best with what they had.
Right.
There's no book teaching how to raise a child. You know,
Not at all.
There's no guide. So, and you know, my mom, you know, everyone has their own story, right? Each parents have their own story. And I know my mom, her mom died when she was very young. So she you know, like she had kids, but she didn't really have nobody to really teach her how to raise them.
Yeah.
So I don't blame her for anything. And she has a good soul and she has a good heart.
Yeah.
And you know, this is like you gotta learn to forgive and just understand just to be better. Whatever, take the good, you know, take that golden carrot.
Right.
And when you get kids and stuff, apply the good, and whatever you saw was bad, don't repeat the cycle. That's it. Yeah.
Of course. So, speaking about that, so that takes a lot of maturity to come to that understanding because, especially as a kid, you kind of just feel things. You don't really understand things. You just feel it. You see it for what it is, not for what it is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, how did that process come to you? Like to the point where you mature to the point where you're like, okay, maybe I'm 22 now, maybe I'm 18 at this point when I understand this. To mature to the point of like everything happens for a reason.
Facts. So what brought me to that was the more independent you get, and the more actually when I got my own place, I actually got it with my girlfriend, and she and I can feel like I could feel like being myself in their shoes, right? Mm-hmm. I can feel like what she thought, like, oh, she got a divorce with my dad, and now she got to work so much to pay the mortgage, right?
Right.
So yeah, maybe at the time I did blame, like, damn, she wasn't there, or dang, like, no, but like in the bird's eye view, she did the best she can with what she had.
Right.
And I didn't see that as a kid. I just had like a lot of self-pity and like, damn, my family sucks.
Right.
But they don't suck. They did the best with what they had.
Right.
And you just gotta understand, like, this world is not easy, right? There's homeless people in the street for a reason. You know, you know, if I didn't have good friends, man, I would have been homeless.
Right.
You know, like if I didn't have like some type of somebody looking after me,
right.
I could have been homeless, right?
Of course, 100%.
You know, I was almost there, right?
Right.
And I have slept in my car a couple of times and stuff, but I was never like truly homeless, you know.
Right.
So
community kind of.
Yeah, had some type of community, you know, even if it was just some hooligans or whatever. They were there, right?
They were there, right.
Yeah.
Dang, so that's deep. That's actually a deep combo. Now, where did you build the strength and confidence to continue to push? Because sometimes you're at the point where, like, you look at all your options and you're exhausted. And maybe someone out there that's watching this is completely exhausted, right? And we get to that point in life. Like, that's life for us. You know, if you think that you're going to go through life without a challenge, without something that's going to smack you right in the face, you're wrong, 100%. Where did you get the strength and confidence to keep going, keep pushing,
I mean, I keep pushing because, you know, one thing that it's bad to compare yourself to people, but I compare to myself because, like, I got like a rich uncle, right? I don't know. I feel like everybody got a rich uncle.
Everybody got a rich uncle.
I feel that's a thing.
Yeah, there's somebody in the family that got the money, right? Yeah. There's always that one.
And, you know, like, I saw that, you know, every once in a while he invites everybody to the cruise ship. I'm Colombian, so my mom's side, it's like 50 of us. If he can afford that, you know, and I know his story, I know that he came to America sleeping on the couch. Same story as mine. Like, everyone thought he was a degenerate, and now everyone looks up to him, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, if he was the degenerate, if he was the black sheep, damn, I was like the degenerate. I was like the black sheep, and now everyone looks up to him. Like, my goal was like to be better than him, or you know, and pay him back. You know, not just like I want to be financially sustainable, but like to feed back and be like, yo,
get back,
everyone saw me as the black sheep, but like, yo, I can invite you guys to cruise ships or fly 50 people out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta keep pushing, because like, seeing that he could do it, and why can't I?
Right. Same situation, if not worse, for him, right? So if he could do it, you could definitely do it.
Right.
So cool. So yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, thank you for being super vulnerable, because it keeps people accountable to life. You know, sometimes we get on Instagram and we see this,
everything
like,
is fake.
everything is fake. I heard that right here from everybody. We live in Miami. We see it, man. You might see a Lambo today. It's on a repo truck tomorrow.
Right.
You know, that's the case in Miami, right? And so yeah, I really appreciate that, man. Now, do you have anything you'd like to say to just about yourself, or anything, you know?
About myself, like what specifically?
I mean, we've been talking, you know, so we can you can kind of shift the conversation anyway. We can kind of wrap it up. Anything, like maybe words of encouragement, maybe, you know, ask a question, just kind of just go from there.
I mean, yeah, to wrap it up, I would say just focus on yourself, right? You know, don't just jump into relationships blindly just because you think she's cute, whatever, you know, like, especially if you're independent and you got kicked out, or you have a similar story to mine, like, focus on yourself, and the person will come, you know, like, the least you look for somebody, the right one will come, because you don't want these club girls or something, you know, it's not gonna work. No. So literally just focus on yourself, and when you least expect it, the perfect girl will come.
Amen. Preach there.
Facts.
What I'm hearing is, guys, build yourself up. Don't chase, attract, right? Because eventually the right one will come, just like he said. So we want to thank you guys for sitting in. This is the official Camilo.
Yeah,
we're going to be seeing a lot more from him. Get him on TikTok, Instagram, peep the lives. And yeah, guys, stay tuned.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.